My guest is Ralph Jackson. He has served as a executive director or affiliate CEO with Habitat for Humanity for 17 years. Ralph is currently at the Lewis and Clark branch, which is headquartered in Collinsville, and he's been there for 4 years. But previously, he was at Valdosta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, and Elkhart, Indiana. Ralph has been married for 39 years and has 3 children and 3 grandchildren. Welcome, Ralph.
All right, thank you for having us today. Just to let you know, this is the first live presentation I've done in the entire year. So I was really excited about this because it's so different when you just Zoom all the time instead of having live connections sometimes. So, and I want to say that in the 17 years I've been with Habitat for Humanity, and I'm assuming that most folks know what we do, that we build homes for low income and families in need, that it is a tremendously great organization and it's been growing by leaps and bounds. In fact, we're in over 100 countries and in all 50 states. So I wanted to give you a little bit of history about Habitat. First of all, it was founded in 1976 at Koinonia Farm in Sumter County, Georgia, which is a town of about 35,000. And Koinonia was a Christian commune, and the gentleman that founded it, his name is Miller Fuller, and it's an interesting backstory to him. He was actually a businessman and a millionaire, and he gave all of his money away, and he moved his family to Koinonia, and along with Clarence Jordan, who was the founder of Koinonia, they put together this concept about building homes for low-income families. So Miller's no longer with us, but when I was down in Georgia, you know, it was only about an hour and a half from my house where Americus, Georgia was, and that was the world headquarters. And I got to know him really well because I got to go back and forth, you know, up there to headquarters because I was so close. And he was a tremendous guy, and he had a real tremendous vision. So here we are today, almost 45 years later, and we're all over the world with this program. A lot of folks think that former President Jimmy Carter founded Habitat, but that is not the case. Everywhere I go, I have to let folks know that. He's our most famous volunteer. And the way that he got involved with it is Plains is in the same county as Americus. So when he left the White House, Millard went over and invited him into the program, and that's how he became involved. Now, what he does is he does one major project a year. It's called the Jimmy Carter Work Project or the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Work Project. They've just recently changed the name. And I've been to several of them. I've been to several overseas, to Thailand, South Africa, and India, and then also in the United States. He'll do 1 year in the United States and then 1 year overseas. And the very first one I went to was in Jacksonville, Florida, back in 2000. And believe it or not, they built 100 houses in 1 week, and there was 3,000 volunteers out there. So it was pretty impressive and tremendous to me. And several years later, I was able to work on a Carter project in 2003 in Valdosta. We built 27 houses in 1 week. And we had to put that whole program together over a 2-year period because it takes a lot of logistical planning and so forth and so on. But the most interesting part of it is when the volunteers come, you don't know what the skill levels are, you know, so it's kind of a hope we make it to the end, but, you know, but every one that I've been on has really been great, and we have made it to the end. And then I think I mentioned this year we're 45 years old. You know, the entire Habitat program is 45 years old. Now here locally is the Lewis and Clark Habitat for Humanity, and we cover 3 counties. We're in St. Clair, Madison, and Bond County. And so our affiliate office is in Collinsville, but we have jurisdiction over those 3 counties. And the towns that we work in, Edwardsville is one of our chapters in the Lewis and Clark family. We're in Alton, we're in O'Fallon, we're in Bond County, and we're also in Collinsville. So we build in all of those areas throughout that area. And we have been established since 1990. So this affiliate is just, 31 years old now, I guess. To date, the affiliate has built 45 houses, and we have 45 families in the program. And COVID has sort of restricted a lot of, obviously, just like with the Rotary clubs and all the other clubs, tough to get people together. But we feel now we're starting to open up. You know, we're starting to get the opportunity. Now, we do have a house going on in O'Fallon right now. It's about 3/4 finished. But we started that house back in July, so it's been a very slow process. And it's because we've had to take precautions with COVID on how many volunteers can be on site. And, you know, we've had to go work through that just like all the other groups. But we hope to have that house finished, hopefully by the end of April. And so that's what we're hoping. Now in Edwardsville, we're ready to start a house, and we've got some property. Let me look at this little sheet here on the address of that property. Greg, what's the address, do you know? It's on Hill Lane. Yeah, we have two properties side by side. Yeah, and so we are planning to start a house there hopefully this summer. That's our goal. But I'll give you a little bit more background about how we do that. The way that we build our homes is that we reach out to the community, and we get house sponsors, and we get volunteers from the community. And then we build the house. And, you know, the last time that this club actually built a house, you built the first Habitat house in Edwardsville. You built it back in 2007. And so you have been involved with Habitat, I guess, throughout the years. At this point, we have raised roughly $65,000. A typical house here in Edwardsville will run us about $100,000. But they'll appraise, the last appraisal that we had on the last house we did was $180,000. And so, you know, it's, we're in it for no profit. And so we sell it to the family at what it costs to build the house. All right, just to tell you a little bit about how our program works. We select families from the local community, and we build houses for the local families. And so we go through an application process, and we normally will hold an application meetings at either libraries or churches and other places throughout the community. Folks will come, and then they'll fill out all the application, and they have to qualify for our program. And they have to meet 3 main criteria. They have to have a need for housing. And most of the time what that means is they may live in dilapidated housing. They may live in bad areas of town. They may be overcrowded. For example, there's some families, you know, there'll be 6 or 7 members of a family living in a 2-bedroom house. And then they have to be willing to partner with us. What that means is we require, if they're selected into our program, to do sweat equity. And if you know what sweat equity is, in our case, they do 400 hours, and the families help work on the construction of the house with us, and they also work with other families if we're constructing houses. And also we have a ReStore over in Collinsville that they can volunteer at, but they have to get the 400 hours into the project. And then they have to have the ability to afford the monthly mortgage payment. And this is where sometimes I find that a lot of folks don't realize in our program that we do not give the houses away. Every family, every Habitat family that's ever been selected makes monthly mortgage payments. What the difference is that we charge 0% interest, and then we also do not make a profit. So for example, the house that was recently built here, at that time, we had a flat rate of $60,000 to charge the family. So the family is being charged $60,000, even though the house appraised at $180,000. And so that's, you know, how we help families because we make the mortgage payments affordable. And then when we have the application process, we have an affiliate volunteer family selection committee that goes through these applications, and they visit with the families and they make a determination of which family has the greatest need. After the selection process, I think I mentioned the sweat equity, but we also know that many of our families are struggling out there in the community. So we require that they go to Financial Peace University. We put a program together where they learn about finances and they also learn about how to be a homeowner. So we just don't, build a house and leave. It's the program is work. We want the family to be successful. The other thing that is unique about Habitat is that we hold the mortgages. So the bank doesn't hold the mortgage, Habitat for Humanity does, a local affiliate does. And so we have flexibility. We actually have, in this area, we do 25-year mortgages. So we have a 25-year relationship with that family. They make their monthly mortgages to our local office. I've often had folks ask me, well, what do we do with those funds? We turn around and use it to build more houses. And so every family that's making a mortgage payment is helping another family in the future get a Habitat house. And then we also have, I've had this question about, well, what if a family moves in and we have to foreclose? And yes, we will do foreclosures. However, because we hold the mortgage, we have a lot of flexibility. And I'll give you an example. I had a family when I was in Georgia, she had to have open heart surgery. So what we did is we suspended her payments for a year. And it's because we wanted to help the family. We didn't want that pressure on her. And obviously she wasn't going to be able to make her mortgage payments until she had her surgery and she got better. So we have that ability to be flexible with all the families that we work with. We realize that some of the families that we select have struggles and they have, different things that they have to work through. And so we're in it for them to make it through the whole 25 years and actually pay out the mortgage in the end. Okay. And so also we have a ReStore. So I'm going to move to a different subject now, and then I'm going to take some questions at the end because you may have some questions. But we have a ReStore also in Collinsville that's at our office. I don't know if any of you have been to it, but it's at Orchard Plaza over there on Vandalia. And I've had people ask me, well, what does the ReStore do? Well, the ReStore takes donations of furniture and different household goods and all, and then we resell it to the public. And it's one of the ways that we raise funds for our projects. And so, in fact, we're going to be having a donation drive at this church at the end of this month. I think it's on March 20th? Is that what it is, Greg? Yeah, it's on the flyer, but I don't have that flyer. Is that March 20th? Yeah, it's going to be here at the church parking lot, and we're going to send a truck over here. And for folks that would like to donate furniture or different items from their household, they can bring it here, and then we'll take it to the ReStore. That particular ReStore program began in the late 90s. And it's proved to be very successful. Every Habitat affiliate just about now has a ReStore. And the ReStore helps in the operations and helps, number one, educate about Habitat because people come in and out of the store and they learn more about our program. But also, we find a lot of donors like to work with our ReStore, especially businesses. For example, recently we got some drywall donated from a company that makes drywall. And a lot of times they have to move it out of their warehouse or they have to make room because, and they can call us up and we'll come pick it up. So, but it's been very successful. We've recently moved to this new location. It's been about, I think February was a year ago. Unfortunately, we had to close it down for 2 or 3 months, kind of hit at the right time. But we've been reopened. We're open 4 days a week. And we plan to go to 5 days a week soon. We're slowly lifting the restrictions on that. So does anyone have any questions or, yeah, Gina?
How do you get the property?
A couple different ways. Believe it or not, cities, a lot of times they have a property in inventory and they'll donate it to us. And then we also have a lot of landowners that will also donate property to it. And as a 501c3, they're able to get a tax write-off. Yes, sir.
The family, once they're in qualified, in 5 years, if it gets bigger, and they sell the house, you collect that equity and move on, or is that once a year?
No, we have, in our paperwork, we have first right of refusal. So they have to sell it back to us. And, right. Yeah, that's one of the major things, is that we have to protect the equity because, the Habitat owns the house and it was also built with donated funds and donated volunteer work. The only time the family can sell the house, in some cases, like say they got a new job in Chicago or something like that, and they have to move, but they have to sell it back to us. If we decide we don't want it, then we can put it on the open market, but they still have to pay back the first mortgage. And we have also what's called a silent second. The example I gave when the family here got the house for $60,000, there was a silent second of $120,000 up to the $180,000 appraisal. So we forgive them the second as long as they're making the monthly mortgage payments. I don't know if that makes some sense, but yeah.
Makes sense, but you don't pay the market value.
No, we do not pay market value.
What kind of a success rate do you have with it? How many of the homes are repossessed? Percentage-wise?
Well, since I've been here, we haven't repossessed any. Greg, do you know if,
So we had one home that the homeowner wanted to move out to the country, didn't want to live there, said they couldn't afford to live there any longer. They turned the house back over to us. We redid that house, and found another family, and they've been very successful so far. So,
right. Yeah, most of the time we take the house back, we'll go in and refurbish it, and then we'll put another Habitat family in there. In fact, we're working on doing that right now in Alton with the house that we have there.
Careful with how we do our mortgages and how we vet our clients, the homeowners, so that we're not setting them up to fail.
Right.
Years and years ago, they were a lot more lenient. If we had 3 people, they would probably just give it to the best out of the 3. And those 3 would not really needed to be homeowners to begin with.
Right. Yeah, we really tightened up our restrictions over time because we don't want families to fail, like Greg said. So we want to be sure that they go into this with an understanding that there's an obligation and that also that they keep up with their mortgage payments. So we try to be very, very strict on that area. Any other questions or? All right, well, thank you for having us today and thank you for the first live presentation that I've been able to do. I know I'm a little rusty, but I did want to say one thing real quick. The stuff that we handed out to you, this is about our ReStore. It's got the numbers on it. If you decide you want to donate anything out of your house, spring cleaning's coming up, and so on the back, it tells you the items that we will accept. We will send a truck and we will do a pickup. So if you will, call us on that. And then also, if you will consider, us as a service project, any of your future, plans, when we start this house this summer, we'd love to have you out there as volunteers, and we'd love to have you involved with our program. So, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.